I'm Nina Lenton. Welcome to Creative Conversations, where I ask my guests, what does the word creativity mean to you? So I'm here with Sophie Roberts, who is a creative mentor and workshop tutor. So thank you for joining me today, Sophie.
Thank you very much for having me, Nina. It's lovely to be here.
And can you just give a brief introduction to what you do before we start talking about creativity in a bit more detail?
Yeah, of course. So I run West Plum Studio, and as you say, I'm a creative mentor and workshop tutor. So I help people to spend more time crafting. So I run tapestry weaving workshops, and then I run a range of other workshops, events and courses, looking at helping people in lots of different ways to spend more time crafting.
Excellent. So I think we can safely say then that you're definitely creative.
Yes, I would describe myself as creative.
So tell me, how did you kind of arrive at the sort of things that you're doing at the moment?
So the business things.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've probably been teaching weaving for the past 5 or 6 years now, and that came about from sort of a pivot when I was on my last maternity leave. I was feeling a bit stuck and a bit lost and wanting to sort of explore my creativity again. You know, when you've got a baby, there's limited spare hands for actually making something. So I found I spent a lot of my time probably on Pinterest, just scrolling and saving and being inspired. And I found I was saving a lot of these woven wall hangings, which is one of the workshops that I teach. And at the same time, I was trying to persuade my child to sleep, driving up and down a local road. And I'm very fortunate up here in North Yorkshire, we're surrounded by sheep. And it really got me thinking, putting the two things together. You know, I love to think about the materials that I'm using, where they come from, the impact that they make on the environment. And I was really struck by how we have this natural resource, right next to us that isn't as valued as it used to be. And often, it can just, I thought I could use that and fulfill my creativity making these wall hangings, and I absolutely loved teaching it and seeing it. It's such a wonderful craft for people to try. I always say you need very little specialist kit. You need very little to get going. It's a wonderful thing for people to try because there's very few rules. Quite often with crafting, people worry about getting it wrong, or it's not going to be perfect, or ruining what they've made. And with this, it's really easy to try something and see what you think, and then have a look at it, and you might think, oh yeah, I really like that, or you might think, oh, actually I preferred it before, and you can take it out and you've not ruined anything. So I really like how accessible that is, and I love seeing the smiles on people's faces at the end of the sessions. People often come in and they've never done it before. I don't think it's as common as like crochet or knitting or something, so they've never done it before. They don't really think they can do it, and by the end of it, they're like, their pride and their smile and having made this creation is just lovely. So as I said, I've been doing that the past few years, and then I was starting to think, how else can I help people? We all know that crafting can be really good for our mental health, and it's a really good way to be mindful and like put the phone down and sort of de-stress. But even though we know that, we don't necessarily do it or find time for it. So I've been really sort of the past couple of years, I've been really trying to understand what those barriers are, what stops people, what gets in their way, and how I can help with that. So I'm really excited to move that forwards.
So do you tend to do in-person things, or are you also taking some of it online now?
So historically it has been in person, sort of around North and West Yorkshire where I'm based. But I'm looking to take things online in the future. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So is weaving? So obviously that sounds like that's your kind of main thing that you're doing. Do you do other crafts as well that you teach, or are those more for your own enjoyment?
Yeah, so I don't teach any other crafts. At the moment, I'm really enjoying crochet. that's something that for years I tried to do, and I was like, oh, I just can't get it. I don't know why. And then something clicked. I think it was about 2 years ago now. I stopped trying to do it the proper way or the correct way, and I just found a way to do it that was comfortable for me, which I think is maybe why I'm a bit reluctant to teach it, because I don't do it, as they would say, properly. But it works. I've made like probably 5 or 6 different hats for people. That's how I started out, different sized hats. And then last year I decided I wanted to try and make a garment. So it took me about 9 months in all, but I made myself a jumper. And then I've just started my second jumper. So yeah, my children were like, another jumper? Do you need another jumper? I was like, yes. Yes, I do need another jumper. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that at the moment. I've always been a crafter, so I like making things. So I like to do a bit of embroidery. I like to do garment making on the sewing machine. I just enjoy making things, really. Yeah.
Well, that's nice. That's great, and to be able to inspire other people to do it just by showing the kind of things that you're doing as well.
I hope so. I'm really passionate about showing people that, it's not a nice and like glossy process. Like, it's okay if you get stuck. It's okay if you find it difficult. It's okay if you make the plan and say, oh, this week I'm going to do something on like Wednesday night and Friday night, and then something happens and life and then you're like, oh, I didn't get a chance to do that. It's like, okay, well, when can you do it next? Like, don't just swipe that off the list. Like, you deserve that time for yourself to do something that you enjoy. So I'm hoping that the information that I share and put out there helps people realise, everybody struggles, everybody finds it a bit difficult, but if you can persevere and you practice, I think we fall out of that habit as children. We're so happy to try and to fail and to practice, and then at some point we grow out of it. And if you can get yourself back in that mindset of, I'm going to try this idea, it might work, it might not, and then we'll see. And it's not like a case of, oh my goodness, I'm a big failure because it didn't work. It's just, oh, okay, learned something there, let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah, let's try. I mean, that sounds, because you mentioned experimenting with the crochet as well, that actually it's about trying something different and seeing what happens.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I'm playing around with the idea of combining weaving with embroidery at the moment, and that's not something I've necessarily seen out and about, but I've got some ideas bubbling away, and every now and again I'm like, I wonder how that would work, and let's just try it out. Yeah.
Because where do you tend to get your ideas from?
Oh, that is a good question. Don't know. I would always say I'm very inspired by the seasons. I love experimenting with colour, so I do think I'm particularly I'm forever taking pictures of flowers and trees and sunsets, and maybe a sunrise if I'm awake early enough. So I love, my camera roll is just full of random stuff, and my family are forever like, oh, she's taking another picture. Like, okay. I love taking that for inspiration, or just seeing, what you see in magazines, or even like clothes that you see on the high street, whether it's shapes of garments or patterns or colour combinations. Like the idea for the embroidery and the weaving, that came about from watching the murmurations of the birds in the sky. So, like, the idea is like a weaving of the sky and the clouds, but then embroidering the birds onto it in like that lovely, like, organic murmuration style.
Oh yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, so that just came about from driving around. I think I was driving around the Dales somewhere and saw it, and it just sort of sparked this idea.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. In fact, because I was chatting to a graphic designer on Monday, also for this podcast.
Yeah.
And we were talking about inspiration, and she was also talking about taking a lot of photos when she goes out for walks. And I do that as well, which mine sort of comes out in maybe writing, or actually just sometimes I'll use the photos themselves. But yes, it is interesting where inspiration comes from.
Yeah, definitely. I almost feel like, I'm sure I've seen like artists, like songwriter artists, say that they're almost like when they're writing an album, people don't talk to them because their brain is almost in this mode of like, oh yeah, like somebody will just say something and it will spark an idea for a song. And I almost think you can go through phases of being like in this having all these ideas mode, I guess, and other times you can sit yourself down and be like, right, I'm gonna think of some ideas now, and you're like, yeah, I've got nothing.
It's so funny, isn't it, how the creative process works?
Yeah, definitely. So for me, it's really handy to try and keep track of the ideas somewhere, whether it's a Pinterest board, or I don't know if you use Instagram folders. I have loads of different Instagram folders for saving different things. Yeah, so I have one for like crochet projects I'd like to do, or garments I'd like to make, or and then you've obviously got like the things like recipes, or like I have loads of different folders. So when I'm sort of thinking, oh, I'd love to explore, my next crochet project, I can go to that folder and find the ideas. It's less of a system with the work things. That's still a work in progress. That's just housed in notes on my phone these days. But yeah, I do think that can be handy for when, I definitely find sometimes you sit down and think, right, I'm going to work on some ideas, and you just draw a blank. With work things, at the moment, it tends to just be saved in notes on my phone. Probably needs to be a better system for that. I think some people use things like maybe Trello or something like that. Yeah, I find, because I tend to have ideas when I'm not, a lot of ideas when I'm out and about. I don't know if you find that as well. So it's like trying to capture it before my brain has forgotten it.
Yeah, it's often tricky when you are out and about, because when I used to commute for 40 minutes a day, I would always be having ideas while I was driving, or I'll have an idea when I'm in the shower, or just somewhere where I just can't capture it. So I've ended up I've ended up just putting pieces of paper and pens in all the places that are kind of, like on the seat next to me in the car. Outside the shower there's a notepad with a pen.
I love that.
The kitchen, because often I have ideas while I'm cooking dinner or something, so that I can just capture those. And then I actually, over the summer, I actually started using Trello to capture my ideas. So I literally set up a board where all I had to do was, if I had an idea for anything, that I just stuck it in this one particular place. My task, of course, now is that I've actually got to go and sort through them all and figure out, were they just completely ridiculous? Are they things I need to do now, or are they kind of ones to store for the future? Yeah,
definitely. It's funny, isn't it? It can be a pain, but then also knowing that doing those things helps you with ideas, I think, can be really valuable when you do get stuck. Like I always remember when I was at university and I'd be stuck, I would forever be having a shower at like 10 o'clock at night, because then whatever paragraph I was stuck on, I'd have like a brainwave whilst I was in the shower. Or like nowadays it's more like, well, let's go for a walk, or put the kettle on, or hang the washing out, or something to take you away, and know that then your brain is going to be working on it. So yeah, it can be in the car when you can't write it down is a real pain.
Yeah,
but it's
that's the really annoying one, especially if it's 5 minutes into a really long journey and you can't stop because you need to be in a place.
Yeah, I had the exact thing the other day. I was driving back from somewhere, and about 45-50 minute journey. I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And I got home and I've got no idea what it was.
But it'll probably come back to you.
I think so, if it was a good one.
I think that's often the thing, that ideas kind of, if they really want to be made, they just kind of come back, don't they?
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah. So obviously you're doing all these creative things now. What kind of creative things did you do when you were a child?
So I was in a very creative family. My dad is an engineer, and is a really talented wood turner, and so he was always like tinkering with things. You know, he would always be making something out of wood. He made us our beds when we were younger, so he was always doing something. And then my mum's always been like creative. I think she was doing like maybe cross stitch when I was younger, because that was the first one that I started with. But yeah, she's done like art and design courses, done like knitting, crochet herself. So I think I was just surrounded by people making things. And then, yeah, as I grew up, like my brother's a really talented animator now. So we are all just like making things, whether it's digitally or with our hands. So yeah, I think that's probably where it started. I'm sure cross stitch was my first thing, and I remember having like the materials, the biggest Ada you've ever seen, and my mum drew in pencil where I needed to do the crosses, and I made like a sampler with like my name and my date of birth and some like flowers or something around it. I think I've still got it somewhere. So yeah, so I think I probably did that more through like the primary school years, and then as like going into a teenager, I think I was also like musical and did like dancing as a kid, so I think I probably did that more as a teenager. And then when I went to university, could not take my piano with me. So I had to find another outlet. So I ended up then getting into sort of doing card making, and I made cards for people for years, and sort of then got into like a bit of the like design side of things with that. I could never really get on with, my mum always used a sewing machine, and I could never get on with it. The only way that I am able to do it, mine has a start-stop button. I could never get on with the foot pedal. It would either go like clunk, 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 clunk because I was going too slowly, or I'd put my foot down a little bit and it would go zooming off. And I just
in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I just couldn't get on with it. But my machine now has a speed setting and a start-stop button. So yeah.
So it sounds like you've just sort of meandered through lots of different kinds of creativity as time's gone on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, my interest has maybe like come and gone with various things through time, and like the amount of time I have spare obviously has changed. So yeah, but yeah, I always really enjoy making things.
Yeah. But it's nice because then you've got something to show for it at the end.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's nice to make gifts for people. It's nice to make things for yourself, for your home. Yeah.
So have you? My perception of creating, doing craft things is that I guess that they need a lot of. I suppose that you need a lot of time to do them, because you need to get all your bits. You need to prepare what you're doing, and then you actually need to do it. So how possible is it to do something in a small space of time if you wanted to just commit little bits of time to doing some kind of crafting or creating?
Yeah, I think it's a case of, I guess, maybe trying not to get overwhelmed and to break it down into the smaller bits. So, one week or 1 month, depending on the time that you've got, the task could be picking what it is that you want to do. And then the next task is making sure you've got all of the supplies for it. And it's like the jumper that I'm doing at the moment has got a technique in it that I don't know. So there's been some resistance to sitting down to do it. I need to pick a time to do it where I've got the brain space to learn something new. But once I've done that, it then becomes something that I can pick up and put down on an evening when I want to relax. So it's almost like there's maybe a little bit of discomfort to start with to get you then into this lovely mindful rhythm. If I'd have picked something that was techniques that I already knew how to do, then it would have been absolutely fine. But because I wanted to learn something new, to remind myself, like, you don't know how to do this, you need to learn how to do it. That is a process. And different I think it comes back to the craft that you pick as well. Like different crafts are easier to pick up and put down, like something like embroidery, for example, or knitting or crochet. You know, you could take with you on the bus, or you know, if you were commuting somewhere, going on a train trip, or you know, if I went into York and sat and had my lunch, I could then pull it out and do it. You can't do that if you need a sewing machine, or if you're working on like a huge, you know, I don't know, blanket that's all sewn together, for example. So yeah, it's definitely picking things to suit the time that you've got, and allowing yourself to, I guess, break them down into steps, and every step that you take forward, no matter how small it is, if you keep going, you will eventually get there. Like if I'd never started last summer on my jumper, then in April this year I wouldn't have had a finished jumper. You know?
Which actually is very true in so many things, that you have to kind of start, do a little bit, and eventually, if you keep going, you will get somewhere. Won't you?
Exactly. Like if you'd never looked into podcasts, you know, you wouldn't be on your second season of doing it. You know, taking all of those little steps and being kind to yourself in the process, not beating yourself up about it, but also at the same time pushing yourself to, well, what is the next step? I think I certainly find for crafting, I think people can put themselves at the bottom of their list. And one of the things I'm really passionate about is helping people realise they deserve to be on the list and near the top of the list. You know, life shouldn't just be about work and life admin and, you know, making sure your house is all sorted and what have you. Like, you know, because the list never ends. You can't put yourself at the bottom.
Well, that's it. You can't. Yeah, you'll never get it all done. Will you?
So, and yeah, we've got this idea that we need to like earn rest and all of this sort of thing. So I'm really, really keen to help people on that journey.
Yeah, which is great, because I think it's I'm a big believer in spending a bit of time doing something creative, even if it's like a few minutes a day. It's still something. I'm actually taking part in a daily photography challenge at the moment, where the person who's organised it, she sent us a few ideas, but basically the idea is you have one photo that's your photo of the day, and you write down some notes about it, because it's all about noticing what's going on, being present, and just having something that reminds you of that day. And then she's given us a Canva template, so at the end of the month we can create that into a book.
Lovely.
And have it printed.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. Really nice.
So I think, and it's, obviously we're still fairly early days into the month, but yeah, that's proving interesting. I've done things like that before. But it's the first time I've done one that's been run by someone else, so it's quite interesting to see the different ways that people facilitate that kind of thing.
Yeah, and do you think it would help you to still be doing it, having somebody external, keeping like pushing it going?
Yeah, I mean, I've done these things myself, so I know that if I set my mind to something, so. There was one occasion, I think one of the early ones I did quite a few years ago was I did a whole month of taking photos of green things.
Oh, great, yeah.
And actually that one I got other people involved in as well. So there were about 10 or 15 of us, and we all just published them in various places on social media at the end so that you could see what we'd been doing. But that one I was quite self-directed because I decided to do it, and so I was just doing it. This one... because I'm a lot busier now than I was when I did that. It's quite interesting, but we get an email reminder just to sort of check in, how's it going? But it's actually not relentless, so it's not one of these every single day. It's enough to remind me to do it. And actually, because I've set up a folder on my phone specifically for the photos that I take, it's kind of reminded me, and I've got a special note that I'm writing, that I've allocated to kind of write notes on. So it means that if I spot that, I go, oh, I haven't put a photo in there today. I haven't yet written something. So I can, those kind of things just sort of prompt me to do it.
I like that. It's like nice. removing as much friction as you can from the process, isn't it? Make it as easy as possible.
Yes.
Firstly, for you to do it, and also for you to realise, oh, I've forgotten to do that, right? Let's take a picture, let's do it now whilst the kettle's boiling, or I'm stirring this for dinner, or I don't know, something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, last night's photo ended up being a picture in the half darkness from in my daughter's room, where I suddenly thought, oh, I haven't taken a photo. Oh, that's interesting. I'll take a photo of that. So it's but that kind of thing, you know, it's all about just noticing stuff.
Yeah.
Which I guess is the same as the gathering all the inspiration. Isn't it?
Definitely. One of the things I did a photography course years ago, and one of the things that's always stuck with me that they said was, I can't think what the correct terminology for it is now, but basically don't just stand there and take the picture. Move yourself, like crouch really low down and take the picture of the same thing. Or then, you know, notice like what can you see now you've crouched down, or, you know, can you look up and look at like an interesting angle and see how things look from that way, rather than just standing there like everybody does and taking the picture at like adult average height, eye level. Change your position. And again, for me, it comes back to like being around young children. It's like they're always the ones that notice like the bugs on the floor or an interesting stone that absolutely has to come home with us. Or, you know, they spot those things. They're like into it. And yeah, I love sort of getting into the nitty gritty and seeing things like that. Yeah, it really helps with ideas.
I think children definitely they definitely play a role in kind of different creativity, don't they? I think it's a theme that's actually come up in some of my conversations already for this series.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think they're really inspiring, and the fact that we were all children once, it really does make you think, hang on a minute, like, where did I lose that like sense of curiosity or that willingness to try, or, you know, where did that go, and how can I maybe get a bit of that back? Yeah.
I think that's what creativity is about, isn't it? It's all part of what it's about, that curiosity and that wonder.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say, yeah, like willingness to experiment, willingness to try, and not being like scared of failure, or like not being held back by this idea that it has to be perfect. Yeah, all really helps you to be creative. And it's like one of those things that, you know, people say it's like a muscle. The more you do it, the I guess, what's the word, the more relaxed you can be, the looser you can feel about like, oh well, I'll try something else over here because, well, I tried that and that was all right, and, you know, and now I'll try something else. It sort of gets that momentum behind it, doesn't it?
So what ideas have you got floating around in your head at the moment to try in the next few months?
Oh gosh, like craft wise or business wise?
Well, either. Something. What's going on?
Next few months, I've had an idea for a while that I really wanted to get people together in these lovely settings for like a social get together. So I'm speaking to a few different venues that do like beautiful venues, do lovely food and drink, and just getting people together. Like, let's carve out that time, bring your project, meet like-minded people. Just have this lovely like experience, almost, you know, like mini retreat vibes. Like, that's what I'm going for. Like, have a few hours out of your life, meet like-minded people, get to do something that you want to do, some lovely food and drink, and you sort of go away with your cup filled up. So I'm hoping, it's an idea I've had for ages, and I'm hoping it's going to come off soon. So that'll be really nice. Other one is I'm launching a workshop called Find Your Time, which is about working with people to say, you know, we've all got busy lives. Where is your time? And it's absolutely not about everybody's got the same 24 hours, or, you know, none of that, because that just is not true. But, you know, are you in a season of life where your creative outlet is scrolling Pinterest, for example? But can we put a little bit of structure around that, so that when you do have a bit more time, you can come back to it and take it that next step further? Or are you in a season of life where you've got a little bit more time, and it's a case of, you know, you've got this dream that you'd love to, I don't know, make a blanket, for example, but you don't know how to get from A to B. And it's like, right, okay, well, let's just see what is the step that you could do either this week or this month to take you that bit further to having that blanket at the end of it. Because if it just stays as a dream up here, you're never going to have the actual blanket. So there's that one. And the other one I'm really excited about, I've like 3/4 written a course on about colour confidence. I need to finish it. I wrote it and then sent it out for testing, and then got distracted by other things. And then it was the summer holidays. So, I found over the years that a lot of people struggle with colour and having confidence to experiment. It's something that I love doing, but I know a lot of people don't. So I've pulled together a course, which is also going to maybe be a workshop, around helping people to build their own confidence around experimenting with colour. So yes, I'm really excited about that. In my crafting, I'm starting a new jumper, and it's a crochet jumper, and it's got like a lace sleeve, which I've never done before.
Ooh,
I've no idea how to do it. It looks lovely. So depending on how it goes, it might either be a short sleeve jumper or a long sleeve jumper, depending on how difficult it is. So those are probably... Oh, and actually the other project that I had a scrap of fabric for, I say scrap of fabric, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful panel I bought like a couple of years ago, and I wasn't sure what to do with it, and I think I've decided I'm going to quilt it and use some old jeans and make whenever I'm going out to like networking or co-working, I don't really have a bag to put all of my stuff in. So I thought, actually, I'm going to use this panel and these old jeans, and I'm going to make a bag. So it's sat for ages because I haven't had a plan and I haven't had a pattern. So now I've got a plan, I'm hoping I can make it into a bag.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be a busy few months then, with all of those ideas.
Talk about biting off more than you can chew. Well, we shall see what happens by the end of the year.
Well, I think that's given us a really good overview of all of the different things that you do now that you're planning to do, with a bit of history of how you got here. If people want to find out more about what you do, where can they find you?
Thank you. So the best place to stay in touch with me is my mailing list, which you can sign up to via Instagram or my website. There's like links there. So my website is westplumstudio.co.uk. My Instagram is at West Plum Studio. I am also on LinkedIn. I'm trying to post more regularly on LinkedIn, so I'm at West Plum Studio on there as well. So those are the best places to find me, and yes, stay in touch. Best place is the email newsletter.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining me today, and have a good
Thank you
rest
so
of
much
your
for
day.
having me, Nina. It's been lovely speaking to you. Cheers, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Creative Conversations. I'm Nina Lenton. I'd love to know your thoughts on today's topic. You can contact me via my website at ninalenton.co.uk.